So our question today is, why has Labour never elected a female leader? Rachel, I'm sure this is something that comes up in a lot of your conversations with your Labour contacts, particularly the female ones.
Yes, it's a source of massive frustration, I think, for a lot of the female MPs, for a lot of the male MPs as well, who kind of feel like a lot of the criticism is levelled at them. And I think for a lot of Labour voters and supporters, it's, you know, it's massive in that they're supposedly the party of equality and have so far failed to elect a female leader. But the Labour movement does have as many problems as the rest of society when it comes to female representation and how women are treated. When you look at, for example, the GMB union a couple of years ago was found institutionally sexist. You know, a lot of people within the Labour movement will be Labour members, will vote on a Labour leader. So the trade union movement's had many of its own problems. I've sometimes wondered in the past if the female-only shortlists actually maybe have not necessarily helped the Labour Party in the way that you might think, because I don't know if that gives some members and some other MPs a bit of an attitude as to why that MP has that seat, if they've got their seat because they've right. Because of positive discrimination. I wonder if sometimes if that has an impact. Obviously, they haven't done that in this round of selection, so I wonder if that kind of changes the matter somewhat. But one of the things that I think I would like to point out is that one of the things I think people are missing about the Sue Gray appointment is that she's been brought into the leader's office when it's kind of has quite a few male members of staff at the top, and it's kind of been called a bit of a boys' club. So I think she's kind of been brought in there as part of as a remedy to that. So, you know, I think they're probably aware that they have persistent problems.
Right. Okay. That's really interesting. Yeah. Sort of getting a sort of experienced woman in her 60s to come in and
sort them all out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because when you talk to Labour MPs about who could possibly be a successor to Starmer, you know, whether he loses the next election and someone else has to take over, or whether he wins and after a term or two, someone else comes in. And often a name that comes up is Wes Streeting. And, you know, he is obviously, you know, someone who could do the job very well and comes from a diverse background, just doesn't happen to be a woman. Is the sort of talent pipeline, does that suggest that we're not going to see a woman as leader anytime soon?
I think it's really, really hard to tell at this stage because, you know, everyone is so very, very behind Keir Starmer, and there's absolutely zero signalling when it comes to who might be a future leader at this stage. You know, I mean, people pick out some of the candidates based, I think, probably on their media performances, and you know, Wes Streeting is very good on the media, but they've got a lot of other very talented women that are at the top of the party. You know, I mean, Rachel Reeves is probably the one who does the most media performances.
Yes.
Bridget Phillipson, Lisa Nandy. They've got, you know, they're not short of candidates the next time round. So
yeah, well, this is what happens, isn't it? Because you speak to MPs and they will list the similar names to what you list. That happened to me when I interviewed Margaret Hodge recently. She, on the record, was listing the names of all the women that she thinks could have been leaders last time. You know, when I said, should Labour have a female leader, she said, yes, they should have had one in 2020. She voted for Lisa Nandy because of her feminism. And she said that it was shameful that Labour has never elected one. You know, she's been in Labour politics for 60 years and hasn't seen one. And she said it was, you know, Labour politicians can't take their foot off the accelerator because there is still sexism. And like you say, you know, that's something that's in wider society, but it is an issue in the Labour movement and trade union movement even.
Yeah, and I think this is some of it comes down to factionalism as well, in that, you know, if you're kind of you know, the progress wing of the party, for example, as Wes Streeting is, or if you're from, you know, a kind of more soft left position like Lisa Nandy, you know, each kind of faction has their own favourites, and they don't necessarily pick the factional favourite based on their gender. So that kind of has an impact on who gets picked eventually as well.
Yeah. And so when you were doing your piece on the Tories' women problem, did Labour's issues come up at all when you were having your conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to address them because obviously the elephant in the room is that the Conservatives have had 3 female prime ministers. And I think, you know, it's really important to point out that, you know, there is sexism in Westminster. You know, even working there, you know, as a journalist, as a member of staff, you feel it. If you're...
Because you worked as a staff member.
As a staff member as well, yeah. And, you know, if you're an MP, I can't imagine how much sexism you must experience. I think even the way the chamber is set up, where it's just kind of set up for people to shout at each other like that. I mean, that's pretty adversarial. It's, you know, it's pretty unpleasant. And I think, you need to account for that when you talk about female leaders in the House of Commons and how difficult it is for women to kind of rise to those positions. But I think the point about Labour is I do wonder if there's a kind of feeling, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, that maybe the British public was, I don't know whether we'd still say they are, but ready for a type of female leader. And that's kind of put Labour on the back foot a bit. So obviously when we look at Truss, May, Thatcher, it's the Conservative woman. And I wonder if when we look at kind of Labour candidates, so historical Labour candidates, whether there's just been more of a barrier there for them because there's a feeling, not correctly, whether rightly or wrongly, that maybe, okay, we can have a female leader, but she maybe needs to look a certain way or act a certain way.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So, you can be a woman, but you've got to be...
But you've got to be,
a right-wing woman.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, that made me laugh about we had a lot of polling of the Tory membership when it was the Tory leadership race, and often the name that came top of the potential candidates right at the beginning was Kemi Badenoch. And, of course, a lot of people were saying this shows that the membership are perhaps more tolerant than we think, than perhaps the prejudice suggests. But also, she was the one who was most outspoken about culture war issues and perhaps was, saying the things that they most liked to hear. And, that's what I heard when I went and talked to Tory members as well. They quite liked her fighty, no nonsense, no holds barred kind of rhetoric. And so that suggests, that you can take one, but only with the other.
Yeah, I also think people forget that a lot of party members are actually quite a bit older.
And they skew male in every party, I think, as well.
So I think that also has an impact. So it's kind of the big perception that Labour's membership are all like students who are like massively into left wing culture wars and what have you, and they're more likely to be nearly retired and male. So
yeah. Like with every party, yeah. I think the preconceptions of what party memberships are like are often quite wrong from what the reality is. And so, what do we think? Do we think that there's a chance that we'll see Labour elect a woman at some point, or it's just impossible to tell? I mean, like we've said, they've got so many different women that they could choose.
I would be shocked if there wasn't a massive concerted effort, whenever Keir Starmer decides he's going to stand down or indeed gets ousted. I think it's highly likely that it'll be a female candidate who's kind of seen as the default person that the party should choose. But I don't know if that in the end might indeed favour the other candidates. It's very hard to tell which way the wind will blow at the time and what is governing the debate around that time. Whoever thought that the party would choose Jeremy Corbyn, but that's where they were in the wake of the 2015 election. So
yeah. And Labour have more female MPs.
Yes, they do. About 53%, I think, of MPs.
Which
Labour
is why
MPs.
they can't do all women shortlists next time, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be discriminating against men. Which is,
I say keep going.
Yeah. But I suppose that makes them look even worse in a way because they've got a bigger pool to choose from.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, it does look a bit, you've got so many female MPs, but none of them can be leader. They have to be aware of optics. And there is a push. There's definitely a push within some members of the party that the next leader should be female. I mean, Harriet Harman's been saying this for years. And, you said Margaret Hodge as well. Yeah,
both women who are actually leaving at the next election as well, which, I suppose means that there have to be new standard bearers for, for women in the PLP.
Yeah, and I mean, they do have those. Stella Creasy has done so much campaigning around maternity rights. And similarly, you mentioned Jess Phillips earlier. They kind of have got a new generation of feminists who will hold the party's feet to the fire when they go about choosing the next leader. So if indeed either of those two don't stand themselves. So
absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch more videos that are on the screen now.